Try to remember.
And that's Sean. Well, that's why I said CJ, because some people remember initials better.
All right, so we're live. Gabriel should be here soon.
Recording.
We are recording.
Great. A total of 0 viewers.
It's okay. Oh, we do. We must announce this.
Yes. Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Let the people know. Log in. Let's see.
This place is the Tinder box? Is that what it's?
Yeah, that's
the
right.
unofficial name or the
This is where we
official
bring our Tinder
It's the
dates
official
to.
name. It's got a sign outside, made of bronze. Not yet. One day.
Doo-doo-doo. Hey everybody, check out our meetup. We are broadcasting live with Gabriel Licina.
I see that you're the headline.
I don't even know why I'm here, man.
I hear someone on the feed.
Is that? Was that?
Zero.
Oh hey.
Oh, never mind.
So let's get our sound right. Is
Oh,
our
here.
sound on?
Let me figure that out.
Okay, say something, Gabriel.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, we
Hi.
could have gotten. Do we have speakers?
I don't.
That's okay. This will do. There's only 4 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people here.
Yeah.
We're just at a house, so
Sit on each other's laps.
yes. I'm emailing the other people, you know, in the mailing list to let them know we're doing this now and what the link is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what we're talking about, man. I don't even know why I'm here.
So we're gonna talk about Chlorine E6 stuff, prototyping for lab benches and like flow hood stuff, and I don't know, just talk about. There's a third thing that I did want to talk about. It'll come up at some point.
All right.
But and also just, you know, you and Jacob. Hey Jacob, say hello. So,
Hey, Gabe.
Jacob
Hey,
is
Jacob. How's it going?
It's going well.
he's our new facilities manager guy. We recently went to.
Does facilities manager mean you have a facility?
We're soon to be having facility. It will happen in the future.
Facility is so going to happen.
Yeah. It's gonna start right here. That's the plan.
Oh gosh.
We looked at a property that was about 2,500 square feet on Saturday, I think. Maybe last Saturday. I don't know. It was within a week ago, and it was really cool. And I feel like we have the talent to build it out, but we need to make a step in between and start practicing doing stuff together and doing stuff in a place. And this is a place where we can do stuff in a place.
A good plan.
Sean,
Doing
you
stuff.
want yeah. Well, Sean's out here. Yeah.
There are voices in the crowd.
Yeah. We got Catherine. Say hi, Catherine. Let's see. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Catherine.
Catherine is a raw food chef.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. What did Skinner get in contact with you recently, or
I haven't.
Contact?
Moritz has.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'll spank Skinner for you. You guys need to talk this week.
Oh, really? What's up?
Yeah. Oh, well, I'll talk about it later because this
Okay.
isn't extra.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think whatever, unless there's something really important, I'm pretty sure Moritz and I had a long talk. So I think.
Right.
Wait, when did you talk with Skinner?
I talked to him, I don't know, 4 days ago.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, I talked to Moritz like all day today. So
Oh, great.
I think
You'll have to
we're
tell me
probably. I think it's all good.
Awesome.
Yeah, get that meeting out.
I'm trying to do Control V, but it's not working.
What are you trying to
I'm
copy?
trying to copy this link
That's
and
weird.
give it to the other people. Paste. It's not working.
What the heck? Try it.
Try what? So like if I put it over here, that works.
So maybe down here this is killing it. Hit not for the sites.
Oh, yeah. I
Just
know.
guessing.
That's creepy.
Nope.
Maybe it makes
It's like
one
a scary
spirits just
movie.
in the crack of the wall.
No,
Yeah,
it's-
yeah, Gabriel, we're trying to copy and paste the URL right now, and it's not working out for us.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, this is like some sort of weird. What is going on here?
I'm gonna open Notepad and like do it first.
Wow,
Maybe
that's excessive.
yeah.
You mean this link right here?
No. What thing
Okay.
right there? Yeah, that thing right there. I
Yeah.
can't paste this.
Well,
I'll type it.
try taking it from this spot
Okay.
that I just sent it to you.
Okay. So doo-doo-doo. Copy. All right, I copied it from this spot. Oh, it's totally the.
yeah, that chat box just doesn't allow you
Okay.
to paste. That's
All
really
right.
annoying.
I'm hand typing it.
Jeez.
Oh my god, that's brutal.
Do you want to time me?
Go.
Okay.
Not bad. 10. Twenty.
So,
Is anybody checking this? Okay,
I didn't
so-
want to disturb you.
That's okay. So that should be enough. That should work.
there's also the join button. I'm
All right.
almost sure the join button's still there. So hey, I actually have a really quick question. It's kind of not really to do with anything in as much as that, but I will be seeing you in person, and I have a piece of experimental hardware that I need to implant into somebody.
Okay.
How do you feel about that? I need that person to both be near me in the nearest future.
So
And
what are
then
the
also
requirements?
The requirement is two things. Well, three things. One, you need to be able to take care of yourself. Two is that you need to be near me in the next couple of months. And then three, like January, say. And then three is that you need to be at the Austin event in February.
Ooh.
I know, right? It like really
Yeah, I'll
narrows
have
it
to-
down. You know what I
I'll
mean?
have to ask them to fly me to Austin then,
Oh,
because I hadn't planned on being at the Austin event.
oh,
Actually.
really?
No.
Oh, damn.
But we'll see. I'll talk to them about this. Well,
yeah, I might just put it in myself. It's cool.
okay.
What is it? I thought that was
Aaron wants to know what it is.
he's like, I'll
No, you-
fly.
You can't ask until it's already in.
Yeah.
No. So a buddy and I have been working on like a true transdermal implant.
Oh
So-
yeah, with the I know what you're talking about.
Right. So we've so basically, yeah, not like the old one. The old one was terrible. It was just for testing. This one's more like it's got a biomimetic design, and then we're going to cover it in fibrinogen and an extracellular matrix before we put it in. And
What are you
basically,
covering it in?
fibrinogen.
Oh, can we type that?
Yeah, let me pull it up here. Yeah, fibrinogen. Okay, I'm not even mispronouncing it. Fibrinogen.
Oh yes, that sounds a little fibrin. That sounds a little bit more familiar.
So I'm gonna type this in. I'm almost sure I didn't spell it.
Oh, you totally spelled it right.
Yeah, no, I'm. Okay, so basically we're gonna want it so that instead of you growing around the implant,
Mm-hmm.
you grow into the implant.
Right. Yeah.
And this is so that you basically have an accessible port on the surface that doesn't get infected.
I remember this. Was this part of the paper that you recently help with the publish thing, or was that a different?
No,
project?
that was actually a different thing.
Okay, that was hydrogels under the
That
skin.
was hydrogel scaffolding.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so anyway, no, this is our own design. So it's basically a piece, because like transdermal is really like one of those things that's just a true pain in the ass, because there's always an edge. There's always some place where like here's your implant and here's the skin, and it never
Yeah.
properly heals, and so you always have that, and over time it's either rejection or infection every time. Even if you get like the most sweet medical grade shunts, like that will happen, and constant maintenance. So we're working on trying to get around that, basically.
Would you be willing to send me any documents on that you've written on this, or that he has? How many people is it? Is it just you and
Just the
him?
two of us working on this one. Yeah, no, we can send you some stuff about it.
Yeah,
we just
I would like to read
we
more
just
about
need a
it.
guinea pig, man.
I'm
we just need a
interested.
guinea pig.
Have you ever? So I found out about this person left Anonym recently.
Yeah, I know about Left.
Does would you ever conspire with her on implantable things?
No, her
Or-
technique is super old school and terribly out of date. It's
Okay.
just I mean, I get hobbyist enthusiasm, but like using vodka as a sterilizing technique is just not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not even. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because
Okay,
I do
great.
need someone, and if I can't find somebody, I'm putting it in myself, and then you
Right.
get to miss out on that sweet opportunity.
I'm interested. I'll have to talk about where I'm going to be if I'm going to
Mhm.
Body Hacking Con or not.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, cool. So you have an agenda? Carry on. By all
Okay.
means.
So let's see. Man, there is that third thing that I wanted to talk about that I can't remember. It'll come up. So Jacob and I have been reading some more about vision and Florin E6, and
Ooh.
we wanted to talk about it a little bit. We've got some insulin, we've got some access to some good DMSO, and I don't know. We read the patent some, and we read plenty of different papers, and did some basic physical dimensional analysis in order to compare the intensity of light that was used with the lasers in the phototherapy with the amount of light that the eye might take in focus during a sunny day, for example.
All right.
So that was
Cool.
fun.
Yeah, because that's like one of the things that we never really looked into.
Right.
So yeah, if you guys can send me some of that, I'd love to pour over that because that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I will. I would like to write it up.
What'd you find?
What did we
It
find?
was
What was your conclusion here?
Like the difference between sunlight and laser is insanely much higher than the difference between dark light and bright light.
I think it was. What was the laser power intensity? Was it like 20 times higher than staring at the sun?
It depends on how you measure it. Like, because it's logarithmic, so it's actually
Oh yeah, there are
many thousands of times stronger. But like, there's the two factors. So there's another factor too that I think we should look into, which is how dilated your eye is, because that's going to change your surface area quite dramatically. But it's
we assumed diameter. What was it, 4
1 square
millimeters
centimeter
or something? 1 square centimeter.
Yeah.
I don't remember. We just did a back of the envelope kind of thing.
Right.
So you had to come up with a unit, a conical section of a sphere. What was the name of that?
Oh yeah, that was a steradian.
Steradian, yeah, exactly.
Hey, you know it's good when you're coming up with your own terms for things that people didn't.
No. That's a
Oh.
a stadium radian. Or
But we had to
something.
I'd never heard of it before. It was right.
Yeah, it's ancient physics. It's normal stuff, but a very uncommon word in casual language.
So and that was also across one frequency.
So like the super basic numbers, like doing multiplication and division and stuff, seemed fairly fine or safe or promising. However, I don't know, the as we were doing that, I started thinking of all of the other nonlinear effects that could happen. And in physics is all about like arranging experiments in order to find out if there are nonlinear effects or not, and how many there are, and trying to nail down like which variables of these are to what power, similar to in chemistry or in microbial kinetics. So I don't remember at the time, how much, was that 3 weeks ago? I feel like it was 3 weekends ago that we did that.
Yeah, it was at least 2.
Okay.
Not 3.
And I just started thinking of all of the different possible nonlinear effects that would go unaccounted for. Oh yeah, here's the thing that I wanted, here's the third thing that I wanted to talk about. The ERG. How are we doing on this? I happen to have two EEGs worth of open source design, like electronic stuff, that I've met people that have just changed those plans into EKGs before, and probably an ERG would be not very far away from an EEG.
Actually, they're totally not far away at all. All we did, we were using the open EEG hardware.
Yeah, I have two open
Okay,
EEGs.
so this is where the problem lays. I actually don't like the open EEG hardware.
I didn't like it either.
Yeah, it's yeah, I've got a box full of that stuff, and I think I left it in California because I was like, and now it's down in California, and the guy who still has it in California, he's like, I don't know what I want to do with this. Yeah, but the difference between like an EEG and an ERG is basically that you take one of your electrodes and you replace it with a different type of electrode that goes on your eye. It's called DTL wire.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really like we tried a bunch of different stuff. We had one that basically looked like was a hard plastic contact lens with gold inlay, and it had a wire coming out of it, and we were like, this is gonna last forever.
Is the DTL, is that
the DTL wire is the shit, man.
Yeah, it's the shit.
Because this other thing, we're like, oh yeah, we're just gonna we gotta pin our eyes open. You can't blink when you have it in.
Yeah.
It's like a sliver of ping pong ball pressed against your eye. It hurts. We had to use lidocaine mixed with a viscous saline to numb our eye.
Yeah.
It was terrible. It was brutal. The DTL wire is literally as thin as a piece of one of your hair. It's a silver coating piece of nylon, and it just sits along the bottom edge of your eye, and you put it in, and you tape it here and here, and then you just forget about it. I've had one in for an hour, and it's, obviously you're not getting good readings when you blink, but it's one of those things where you're like, okay, so we need you to not blink for the next 30 seconds while we take readings, type of thing.
Do you worry about taping the eye down or anything?
You don't even need to. We used a speculum. You can get them on Amazon for $1.50. They're just a little piece of wire, pins your eye open, but you totally don't need one of those. It's really it was really a matter of you taped it here, you pulled down the eyelid, you pulled it across the eye, you taped it, you blinked, it aligned with the bottom eyelid, and you were fine. Yeah. So DTL wire is really the way that you want to go with that.
Sounds like it.
The only problem is, so we went for getting the spool of DTL wire and then soldering it ourselves, but you got to use pure silver solder, which is actually pure silver solder, the really, really fine stuff. And you can't, it's a piece of nylon with silver on it the size of a hair. You can't even look at it with heat. So we ruined a lot of it just doing that, and we always wondered if maybe we're getting fucked up readings because of that. You can go, there's only one supplier that sells DTL equipment that you're going to be able to find, and they sell male to female adapters, they sell packages of DTL wire, they sell everything that you're going to need. I'm going to strongly suggest that you buy an adapter instead of, you're oh, I can totally take this tiny wire and no. Don't even bother. If you're gonna do it, get the actual hardware. It's gonna cost. and it only comes from one location in the UK, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah, get on
Because,
that.
because fucking with the DTL wire is a nightmare. It's like super fine, and you're like it's like fraying and tangling, and there's little flakes, and it's just, you're like, oh god, what have I done? But instead, that they'll like get you a packet like this that comes with little pieces of DTL wire with adhesive already attached to it, and a little connector that comes off of it. And you just go boop, ta-da, and that's it.
Do you have the name of that distributor or supplier?
Not off the top of my head, but like if you just type in DTL wire ERG.
ERG. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, ERG. It's Unimed. Yeah, Unimed electrodes. And anywhere else that you find that says that they're going to sell DTL. So here we go. The DTL Plus electrode single use. That's the one you want to get.
I see it.
Yeah.
What are those?
They really are single use. They'll completely break down if you try to clean them. And then over here you've got your jet electrode.
Over where?
And the gold foil electrode. Those both suck. They're evil.
Don't use the foil electrodes.
And don't use the jet electrode for sure. Just use the
What is the jet electrode?
That's the contact one.
Oh.
The foil electrode is actually a piece of gold foil that hooks underneath your eyelid.
Did you try the jet electrode?
No, the jet electrode was the first one we tried.
Oh,
That's
no.
where you gotta put all the you said a lubricant and
Yeah, it's evil.
saline.
Okay.
What's the foil? So what's wrong with the foil one?
I just look at it.
They're flimsy, and you're putting a metal hook in your eye.
Ouch. Okay.
Yeah. No, so go with the DTL Plus electrode single use. And then make sure that you, like, from there, you can solder and splice into an audio jack or whatever it is that you're going to use. And you'll get a fairly good reading. And if you guys are going to be going through with this, the biohack board right now is like, there's been some people who are kind of like talking about getting back into this and explain. You got to scroll down a little bit, but it just says night vision, and like the last dozen posts or something are actually, fairly good. There's a lot of stuff. Jeff Cassocks, he goes off about all the other different phytochemicals that you can use, and so there's been some interest there. Everyone got excited, and then it just kind of puttered. I think everything died for a little bit because we were yelling about artificial intelligence, but somebody will get on it. And if you guys
this is pretty recent.
Yeah, if you guys get a good setup working, there's a lot of people that would be interested in, myself included, who would be interested in bopping down just to use your equipment.
Sweet. So, let's see. You've already been ERGing.
Well, yeah. I mean, we did it for the. Well, we didn't do the ERG for the eye drop test because we'd basically.
Why not?
Because all of our, well, one, because we were on time constraints, and two, because the equipment itself was just like destroyed over time. We had been using that Open EEG system on a fairly regular basis, like I'm talking daily, for 6 to 9 months, and so it was pretty, like, the contacts were all worn. Okay. Everything was just destroyed. It was just screwed.
But it still exists.
Yes.
So if I've got 2 copies of every part, then would I be able to just contribute those parts into refurbishing the one that you had been using?
Well, I don't have one anymore, but I can get you in touch with Cassocks.
Okay.
And
yeah, let's try that.
Yeah.
Something that some people around here. So first of all, last I mentioned this at our pre-forming semi-core group meeting was several people had issues with putting a DMSO in their eyes. Is that something that they should be? Is that something where their fears are warranted? If
Okay,
the
well,
eye
it
is
depends.
flushed out
So
pretty
it's
well?
like everything else. I mean, and DMSO. So it depends on how safe you are. It is going to get broken down or flushed out or kind of work through your system over time. The other thing is that DMSO. So like I come from a like chemistry, biology in a lab background where we're like fucking DMSO is evil. Meanwhile, when I was working with Jeff, he's like, dude, we use DMSO in the hospital all the time. It's like a very normal thing for the application of medicine and stuff like that. So it really has to do with the amount of control that you're putting into it, and then also just never go over 6.25% by by ratio.
What is 6.25%?
That's the ratio. That's the highest ratio. That's the standardized highest ratio that you want to use.
All right.
Yeah. So like
Sean says, why is DMSO necessary?
So it's not 100% necessary, but it really has to do with maximizing the amount of absorption. So the insulin is crucial for this particular thing because it's been shown in multiple papers that insulin inhibits, what is it?
ABCD2.
Yeah, the ABGC or whatever pathway that allows chemicals to pass into the cells in the way that we want it to. The DMSO is kind of more just like a booster. We're guaranteeing a higher ratio of absorption, and this is just based off of decades of DMSO being used for exactly that purpose. One of the things that we were always worried about was getting the correct amount. If you have too little, it's not going to matter. If you have too much, you might hurt yourself. Not the DMSO, but the chlorine E6.
Oh, the chlorine E6.
So we wanted to be able to like kind of precisely get the right amount in there, and so that's the whole point of that.
How did you determine what that right amount was?
Why would
that was based off of not just the patent, but two papers. Most importantly was the Washington paper.
Okay.
And then basically all we did was we calculated the amount of absorption that you're going to get systemically from injection versus the amount of absorption that you're going to get when you topically apply something in this situation.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, like there's a lot of equations out there. It's like really easy. You can look it up kind of stuff where it's like, okay, like I can give somebody X milligrams of morphine and they're going to be fine if they eat it. Now, if I give them X milligrams of morphine in their arm, they're going to die. So, and you can calculate the amount that is safe. So that's some basic med stuff right there.
So what did you find any adverse effects to a high concentration of chlorine E6 to second?
We haven't. So that's the thing. We haven't tested any high concentration of chlorine E6 to the eyeballs because it's the only pair I've got.
Exactly. Okay. I wonder if we can have a control, if we can send.
Yeah, I mean, this honestly, this reminds me of my new interest in organoids. It would be cool if you could just drop some chlorine E6 on some eye organoids.
Yeah. And we really wanted to do that. We wanted to, but like you need the entire functioning system for the absorption and to see how it affects things in the long term. And it's just like you need a functioning head attached to like the rest of the stuff.
Yeah, it's the whole trying to dissect brains after the brains are dead and find out what's going on in them.
Oh yeah, no, and like I said, we had it kind of at some sort of artificial intelligence throwdown on the biohack board. People are like, "Oh, brains are just neurons, man." I don't know, buddy. I'm not saying there's a soul or consciousness exists somewhere else. That's like woo-woo stuff, but
Yeah, it is a whole system, not just.
Yeah, exactly. It's a complex system. We are not just brains in neat SUVs.
So, two things. One, the chemical that I was most like worried about was actually the insulin, because there's several people in my life that go around talking about how, how just about health. I'm not going to try and re-say what their paradigm of health is, but it's centered around insulin, and just based on talking to them, I get the impression that messing with your insulin balance, that most modern people's insulin balance is already screwed up, and
right. And if I was putting the insulin in my arm, I would totally be concerned about this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this is like the DMSO and like the chlorine E6 and like the morphine analogy. Like,
right.
Like, I could say that most modern people have a truly abhorrent intake of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
I'd also say that most modern people could do with a nice sugar facial. Just kind of rub it into your skin.
Yeah, that is true.
And so, like application matters above almost everything in this situation. How you apply the thing, and when you take the tremendously low amount of insulin that you're getting in the dosage, and then you're also talking about it being dripped in the eye, you're running into a situation where it's like, doesn't really matter. It really doesn't. And I agree with these people, but I agree with these people contextually,
Okay.
And this is a different context.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I can do an easy comparison to what a normal an insulin injection would be compared to what volume we're putting in our eye too.
Oh yeah, that would be.
Because I bet it's pretty small.
Helpful.
It's tremendously low. I mean, we're talking about, what were we talking? It's like, what we do. I don't remember the exact amount, but it's like it was only like 300 micrograms or something like that.
Yeah, we're talking.
And insulin was only 10% of that.
We could just eat a cookie before we take the job, so that insulin actually.
Gosh, you could smell a cookie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really, really low amount.
So in the patent, did you and you just mentioned that on the forum thread, people were talking about alternatives.
Mm-hmm.
In the patent, I noticed they mentioned monoclonal antibodies, ketamine, and IGF-1. Did you find any mechanisms or interest in doing those things, or were those made up?
This was one of those things where there's the difference between a patent and doing research. It's like there's a finite number of things that you can do at once before you're just starting to muddy things up. Also, getting a hold of ketamine is maybe not something that we want to be doing when we're already broadcasting that we're doing weird science on people's eyes. And, there's a lot of when we hit that point in the patent, we were like, okay, these guys have found every single method of absorption for a chemical that you could possibly think of in this situation, and they have crammed it into this patent to make sure that nobody scoops them in any way. It may or may not be worth looking into, but in all honesty, I think that looking at the chlorine E6 or the chlorophyll analogs and the different phytochemicals is way more interesting than dicking around with all the different possible, you're talking about completely different systems. Even when you go between the insulin and the DMSO, and then you start talking about ketamine and monoclonal antibodies, you're talking about so many different pathways that to say that any one of them are comparable or can substitute for each other is a little excessive and would never be something that you could publish or even talk about seriously.
Yeah, that would be a very difficult process to study and describe properly.
So I am sorry to cut this short. I have to go. I'm visiting family.
All right, Gabriel.
But yeah, I was glad that I could tag in for a little while. It was good to meet you guys.
I would like to talk in the future about the other things, like the lab prototyping stuff. And thanks for.
Talk with me tomorrow, man.
Okay. See ya.
All right.
See ya.
Have fun with your parents.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Is it even 7:30 yet?
it's gotta be.
Are you still recording?
7:25.
7:25. Okay. All right.
I was wanting to know about the discoloration in the eye after topically applying the.
I think it
26.
dissolves in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think that was just goop sitting on top. The black, you mean?
Yeah.
No, he was wearing blackout lenses
Was
that
he?
was it.
because the lights were so bright because there was so many
Okay.
people filming.
That makes sense. I was
Yeah.
I had the same thought, but I was like, oh, it's just black. It just goops away.
Yeah.
But-
No, I mean, but the pictures were that much cooler with
Yeah.
blackout lenses for sure.
Probably, yeah.
With his swollen fucking eyes because of the speculums or
He
speculum.
looks like a newborn, you know, like
He does, he
like
does.
alien.
Yeah.
Except with black eye.
It's like he got it injected as well. Not even talking.
So yeah, when they're talking injection, I mean, the words are wrong because they just used a micropipette, just like usual. It's just a really
Mini turkey baster.
yeah, it's a very very small scientific precise turkey baster, not actually an injection, actually eye drops.
But it does apply similarly to an injection.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
injecting
yeah.
into that.
with your thumb.
What do you call that
Plunger.
area?
The what?
That area of your eye.
The
That,
canthus.
the canthus. Thank you. I never remember that name.
Yeah, actually, you're applying pressure to the canthus so that.
Oh yeah, and you fly back
The
there.
So-
tears aren't.
Yeah, so none of the tears run down your nasal duct, but rather you have more time for just the absorption, and then you can let go. But
Sounds painful with that thing. If you have that thing sitting over
the
top.
speculum,
No. I mean, like, I think we should listen to him about the wire.
the TRL.
Yeah, because that big fat gold-plated
Mhm.
thing sitting on top of your eye. That sounds.
Yeah, no, we're definitely doing the one that they tried with the two adhesive things.
Single use.
We should probably do. I'm wondering if we should do a control against no change. You know, have a similar experiment where no eye drop without DSMO,
Yeah, for
eye drop
sure.
with DMSO.
And I mean, you could do both eyes.
That's a good
with
point.
with the wire,
Mhm.
so that you can try without the eye drops, and then one eye with eye drops and one eye without.
Mhm. That's a really good idea because you can measure directly.
So
and
would you just
instantaneously.
cover the eyes for the single evaluation, or would you actually, you couldn't really wear an eye patch with the
You
little
actually,
apparatus in your eye, could you?
I think you actually would want. Well, depend. Like if you want both, if you want the comparison of the eyes, that what do you call electroretinal?
Yeah, ERG electroretinal.
It's gonna
right.
measure
That's
the-
gonna read it.
It's
Oh, I
measuring the
see.
potential difference, so you actually want it to be in both eyes at the same time, because then you see the difference between them instantaneously.
Yeah, actually, it has to be in both eyes. You're right.
Because it measures the potential difference between the two eyes.
Oh, that's good.
Hmm.
Well, what about the other things that I read in that article? Like, for instance, there are all sorts of tests to measure, like target drops that, cloth drops that have images on them, and people standing in front of trees.
Yeah, that's one of my interests is designing tests for this
Got
sort
to
of thing.
plan like a little course.
Yeah,
or
we'll
something,
need
right?
objective and subjective tests, I think. So we need something.
We'll have to go paintballing at night with this.
Exactly.
I totally agree. You know, you can get bioluminescent paintball, or not bioluminescent. But
Yeah?
fluorescent,
Yeah.
whatever.
That sounds necessary.
It's like when it hits, it activates.
Yeah. Oh man.
I wonder if that would be too bright.
No,
Nah.
no way.
Bright would be headlights from a car, flashlight
Flash
from
camera.
someone either
Staring.
in our group or not in our group. We should pay attention to that early. Don't want anyone walking around like, what you guys doing here? You know,
Oh,
that'd be-
God.
So we need to not look like we're doing anything out of the norm.
Just be on private land.
Exactly. Well, if we can get on private land, that's perfect, right? Because we don't have to worry about it. Or at least protected land where we're supposed to be there. But we should pay attention to that so someone doesn't come up with a flashlight in the face.
What is the millispec wire measuring?
So, the way it works is you put, based on this conversation, I think you put one in a control eye and one in not the control eye. I don't know if that's necessary though. I'm not sure. You need to measure the potential difference and find out when you shine light in the eye, basically electricity is produced in the back of the eye, and that electricity goes to your brain, which processes it and stuff. So what we want to do with the night vision eye drops is to find out if, when exposed to the same amount of light stimulus in a dark environment, is there more electricity produced by your eye? Is there a higher signal, and by how much, based on what formulation of night vision eye drops you're using?
Oh my God, you have to consider the quality of the light that you're shining too.
Yeah,
It has to be very controlled. We have to know exactly what we're.
You might want to you might do it with one wavelength of light, like with an LED, or you might want to do one with you just have to document and be, yeah,
A laser pointer.
No.
Yeah.
But something like a little birthday candle.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
something,
yeah.
Something normal.
not a
That's controlled.
sparkler, perhaps.
Yeah.
That's too fluctuating
Yeah.
anyway.
And LED would be the go-to science.
You can
one.
control using like $5 of parts. You can control the voltage. You can control the intensity. You can control the color of an LED. Like you can get. It's pretty simple to set up a test.
What about those night lights that you can actually change the color of? That's an LED night light. Like it can be red or it can be blue.
Exactly.
Why?
I was just thinking that.
Frequencies. See what the different.
Exactly. I was just thinking about multicolored LED lights.
I have.
We should just get a night light.
I have
probably.
something like that, but it's not. What's the word I'm thinking of? It's not translucent. It's actually. It's like looking. It's like the difference between a frosted light bulb and an unfrosted.
It's diffuse.
Yes.
But we can always take that diffuse thing off if we want to.
Well, I'll have to bring it or something like
Okay.
that because I have it in my kitchen, but it changes on its own. Like you'd have to have something that controls it.
Okay.
But it's a motion detector thing. So as soon as it detects motion, it starts to light. It's very, very, very faint though. It probably wouldn't be.
That's cool. That's almost like a sensor in itself. You could you could do lower and lower amounts of current, and
the dimmer.
yeah, and then if they move, then it switches to the next light, and that's how you can. It's almost like it's got its own. That way we don't have to build. We can build less things.
I do have a diffuse night light that is motion sensitive. It's in my bathroom. That is only blue.
Okay, that's good.
That might be something if we could put it on a dimmer. I wonder how. But how then do you attach the frequency to the dimmer so that you know how many units you're using? Is that something?
So
that you would
you would use like a benchtop power supply that has a little knob on it that says how many milliamps you're sending to the thing.
Isn't it something where you could just plug that into another cord and be plugged into the wall? You know what I mean? Like you could chain computers.
Yeah. You could use
something like that.
What's it called? Like a variac kind of thing. A knob that controls the amount of electricity that flows from the wall through the thing back to the wall.
Yeah. So I think the more we get involved in like purchasing these things from the UK and getting the money together, it doesn't seem to me like this might happen unless it's thoroughly thought out until it's warmed up next year outside.
So
not to disappoint you.
There's stargazing, and then there's this thing, and I got the stargazing idea because of Zoltan, and he's like, "Here's $100." So okay, now we paid for the chemicals that way. So, but then he's like, "I'm going to Mississippi," and I don't know where he is now, but he's east of Mississippi.
He's forward.
I think he's trying to get to DC by the end of the year.
I rode with him up to Waco, actually.
Oh yeah, tell us about it.
I wrote an article about it for Extreme Tech, which
Oh,
you
yeah.
can check out.
Do you mind if I put the camera on you?
That's fine.
Okay. So what happened? How was the ride with Zoltan?
It was great. Learned a lot more about his politics and his movement.
Transhuman.
Yeah, he wants to get something started here, which I was talking with him about, and I thought, this biohacker group could be a good kind of sister organization, or maybe one in the
Mouthpiece.
same. Yeah, exactly. So I think I wanted to come and talk to you more about that.
Sure. There's definitely a lot of crossover with the membership.
Right. I don't know. How do you? Is there a defining line between who's a biohacker and who's a transhumanist, or?
Yeah, I mean,
is there a big to do about that?
I think that there is. I'm not necessarily one. I'm more on the diplomatic side of all things, but I think that a lot of transhumanists are more, I don't know, less risk-taking in terms of the ways that biohackers take risks versus,
okay.
I don't know, the transhumanist population is much larger. They're, the conferences I've heard today nowadays from some people that have been to them, like H+, a lot of it was how to preserve the status quo as we move to and through a singularity age civilization. And so biohackers definitely are trying to do the opposite. They're trying to disrupt the status quo in the present day, and throughout the move to a singularity age civilization,
right.
to disrupt and to subvert the status quo as things move forward. There's a lot of a lot of transhumanists wouldn't do home experimentation unless it was by a company and had been around for 10 years and was proven in every possible way. Whereas more biohackers are like, I'll be the first one to try it.
Right.
Transhumanist things are often very expensive. The things that they're interested in, like mind uploading, cryonics, artificial intelligence. Biohackers are usually more interested in things that cost less than $100 or less than $300, whereas cryonics costs hundreds of thousands of dollars usually.
I was chatting with Zoltan about how to kind of get the movement in the public eye or get more attention for it.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the transhumanist movement, but the biohacker movement. And I was thinking, if we had some kind of a proof of principle to show people this is the promise of biohacking, and it could be very simple, but just something kind of newsworthy, maybe this eye drop thing, or I was thinking what about these bioengineered glowing ferns?
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard about those?
Yeah.
Planting them along jogging paths.
The tobacco plant. Well, so the whole reason that the tobacco plant was funded on Kickstarter was it was marketed as, this is our symbol for synthetic biology in this coming generation. This is how cool it is and we are. But the project has been fraught since it was funded, and they're still barely at a slightly glowing tobacco plant, even years after.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
the Indigo campaign that makes it look like it's really glowing.
That a lot of Kickstarter projects, you pay somebody to do CG to show this is what it looks like in the idealized version when it's finished. You don't actually. They didn't have a. They didn't even have a prototype. They didn't even have a prototype at the time that they launched the Kickstarter. I don't think. Not that I remember. The prototype is them finishing their prototype happened recently. And it was still pretty weak. Part of this whole trying to find something that's super cool that is a symbol for the way that culture moves forward. Part of that is always going to be this thing where night vision eye drops are never going to be approved by the FDA, and it will always be illegal in the U.S. to hold stargazing eye drop tours for money. So you can never build a business based on it. You can't. Do that recursive sustaining thing where you use the profits to market more and enlarge the business and train people to do it properly. The FDA probably will never allow that in the US while the FDA is still around. It would have to be done in a different country.
Right.
It's just that kind of thing. You like, if you want to build a symbol that is culture moving forward, it has to be like really super surprising and different, but it also, a lot of people want it to be something that is legal and fits into the way that we've been doing things, for example. I just think that's a big part of it.
So you want it to be illegal, per se, or you don't care? You're just
No, I'm just saying that the prospect of finding that symbol is difficult because the stuff that would be symbolic is more likely to be illegal, even if it gets invented. And the stuff that, like the plant, if it worked, it would be really cool, but it doesn't. And it's something that everybody likes because it's simple and easy to accept. And you can just plant it places and it's cool, but it doesn't work, whereas night vision eye drops does work, whereas that's illegal is what this is the difficulty in creating the cultural symbol to uphold. That's what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
I guess.
Are there some other ideas you guys have tossed around similar? Because ideally something that's scalable, that's socially.
So I think that implants will become sexier over time. Like whatever kind of implant it is, once we have it figured out, at least for the base level, it will start becoming cool. Somebody will start making it cool. I feel like, on a side note, maybe, nah. I don't know, like on it, for example, with nootropics, they've tried to make nootropics cool.
What is nootropics?
Nootropics are like cognitive enhancers, also just like workout kinds of stuff.
Right.
And getting total human optimization is their like motto for their company. So they sell at Whole Foods right now. They have really expensive products, and
Wheatsville just picked them up.
Aubrey Marcus lives here in Austin, and he's a really cool guy. Sean recently. It's Austin startup. But I'm not sure it will come to prominence as that simple unless they have something out that's really blow you away cool. Like on Facebook, I always see ads like the limitless pill or whatever. Like you got to click on this article. This guy learned Chinese in 2 weeks or something. But it's all just bullshit, basically.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I think that as biohacking expands, we're probably not going to expect what really changes it. Like if there's a way of changing your eye color easily and safely, that would be fucking hardcore. That would be the new dyeing your hair, changing your eye color. And
I was thinking, can biohacking like solve some very like simple problem in Austin?
Right.
Like some sort of
like make you cool in the summertime.
Yeah, something like exactly like a little spritzer biohack, like something that we could put up in different places that would draw attention to the movement. Would be like cheap and provide. It doesn't have to be like a great social good.
Something
like
cheap and cool.
People are like, oh, this is like really happening. Like the future is here. So I've been brainstorming myself, and I was just wanted to throw it to you guys as well. And like,
do you have any ideas about how we can make a symbol for biohacking that goes viral in culture?
No, but I like the idea.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever.
Like they make this glow in the dark bacteria that we could like paint the sidewalk with, or paint some running trails with. I don't know. For some reason, I keep thinking about glow in the dark. But like,
yeah. So like with that I think it would be really cool to make some self-replicate, like astonishingly self-replicating glow in the dark bacteria that you just dump into the environment, and then stuff starts glowing everywhere.
Yeah, like fountains or something.
Yeah, that's potentially dangerous, and more likely
people are not
the
gonna
EPA
like
is not going to like it, even if it's totally safe.
Yeah,
like,
people in general are just gonna hate that idea just because they get scared of anything
that's glowing.
Oh, it's the word bacteria.
I think
that
it's
river in Chicago goes green
That's
every
true.
St. Patty's Day.
It's true. I like the idea. I think it's safe, and there's lots of bacteria that would be just fine. But there's a big PR aspect of that.
Something I thought about for the party was bioluminescent punch.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also always wanted glow sticks to be edible. I want to see like kids breaking open glow sticks and like drinking them.
I wonder if your poo would still glow. I mean, it
Glowing
depends on
poo. You figured it out. That's it.
That's our symbol.
No, that would be one hell of a symbol.
Yeah.
Actually,
Steaming
yeah.
pile of glowing.
For like dogs, and then so you
Dogs,
step
dogs.
in it.
It's a safety.
Hey,
It's a safety mechanism.
That's probable idea right there.
Yeah, something like that.
Until you give your dog and
Right.
Okay.
You know, and then you
Maybe we need to start with a goldfish or something. That way it can glow in the water. You know, a little teeny little ropey thing.
Yeah, actually, there's a local Austin entrepreneur started the Glowfish Company where they sell glowing zebrafish, and it's very well known in academia because they use them all the time. But yeah, I talked to the guy about doing a thing with us, and he said yes in the future. Like,
Are they genetically modified?
yeah, they have jellyfish genes in them, and they grow well. They're just like any other zebrafish, except they are very expensive and they glow in the dark and the day.
You don't want them being released into nature.
Why not?
Do we?
I think it'd be fine.
Yeah. Are they okay?
If they glow in the dark, they're probably
Well,
more.
they'll mate with, I mean.
Yeah, but that type of fish is unlikely to ever survive in the wild because it's a lot easier to find.
That's a good point.
The camouflage that's a natural part of it's
It's blown.
yeah, it's blown.
Glowing.
Yeah, so it could only live in our cute little fish tanks.
I see applications for fishing here.
Yeah.
Bait fish that glow.
Oh, you're
That's
right.
interesting.
We'll talk to him about that.
Very
Yep.
interesting.
Bait fish that glow.
Then you can fish at night and you can see when you can see your bait and you just pull and you can't see it anymore.
So, yeah, like going back to implants for a second, I never realized that the cicada, which was one of the more recent, like, among the grinder community things, because it was a fucking huge implant. Most of it was a battery, and it's just like it's like an inch tall under this guy's skin and his arm, and it's like, so I don't know, it's like that long. And but it had 3 lights in it that would light up based on his vital signs. And that's cool, having lights inside under your skin. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Maybe performance artists that would.
Yeah.
I've always liked the idea of having biosensors, something that you can implant and read your
Yeah.
sugar level would be a big one.
Yeah.
Actually, viscosity of blood can change, pressure and all that. So that's always been a good.
How long do the eye drops last for? Is it
5 hours.
5 hours?
Yeah.
Just as long as it takes for the.
It depends on how often you want to redose.
Yeah.
Wait, re-administer it? Or
Yeah.
you
So like I think he did it 3
Probably
times
not.
that night, and then just slept it off.
So
I bet there isn't a tolerance, but I have no idea.
I can't imagine there would be because it's not changing your it's not like you have a biochemical pathway that's going to stop it. It's just attaching to an existing pathway and enhancing it.
Right. Yeah.
So what causes it to end? Like, is it being metabolized or is it just being flushed?
it's being metabolized. That's what we think.
That'd be worth checking out.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's being flushed somewhere, right down your back of your throat.
I mean, it's probably metabolized as it's flushed and flushed as it's metabolized.
No, it still needs to pass through your liver or your kidneys or something.
Yeah.
So if we got to think about someone's gonna dose. If they're just like, I'm gonna just see forever, they're just going to pump their body full of chlorine E6. Is there any adverse effect?
I don't know. I don't think anybody's ever really done that before.
No, I mean, no, but someone will. You know they will. Someone's going to be like, I want to see how far I can take this. And they're going to, anyway, just a thought.
Yeah, it's possible.
In our group, I think we're going to be a lot more intelligent than that. But
hey, we might end up doing experiments that prove that it is something that we should try.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
You
that's
don't- you don't
important
know.
because that was the biggest like criticism I saw online. Was definitely like the experiment, just like putting a clock on a tree.
Mhm.
Some
Yes.
distance,
It was a good-
like,
it was
isn't
a good
necessarily
first-
enough.
Yeah, it was a good first pass. I mean, it's
Yeah.
good, it's a good like initial push to say not only did it work, but it seems like it worked well. But like they didn't, you know, how far can you go with the first experiment? So
Yeah, if
we can
you-
take that and formalize it.
Well, I think the paintball idea is great.
I
You know, we
love-
can put up different targets with different sheets, and then you can see if you can hit the.
Mhm.
Well, first of all, you have to get good at the
Yeah.
target period, right?
I think it'd be fun though. It'd be good.
It'd be fun.
Like you do your objective analysis with your electroretinograph and your GAN field generator, and then you move on to a more subjective experiences where you know it's
Perfect.
flashlights or whatever, you can control that. I'd have to get some thought of that. I haven't yet. And then third, we'd end with an event,
Yeah.
stargazing and paintball.
Yeah, with the-
Stargazing would just be something.
Oh yeah, I love stargazing. It's-
That covers every base. With the ERG, you could totally write a legit scientific paper based
Absolutely.
on that. And just, I'm trying to talk to my friend John about designing an actual like double-blind study that's not the ERG, but but based on whatever it would be. If we did those two things, that would cover the scientific bases, and then the paintball and stargazing is the coolest thing you can do on those basically. So. The coolest thing I want to talk to Gabriel about was, so the way that the chlorine E6 eye drops work is when you put chlorine E6 in the eye, it absorbs light of a much wider range of spectra, and it outputs the light at very close to the frequency that your photopic night vision with your rods is tuned to absorbing. So the way that your eyes work at night is you've got the rods going and they're sensitive to light of a specific wavelength. I think it's like 586 nanometers or something like that.
It's all about, oh yeah.
When the chlorine E6 is sensitive to a much wider set of frequencies, a much wider set of colors or energies of light, and when it absorbs it and then it pumps it out or reflects it back to 586. So it would be cool if we could find another chemical that rode on top of chlorine E6 that could pump light down into the chlorine E6. That way you could like jump up into the ultraviolet or into the infrared and not just be seeing in.
So are you saying like using the chlorine E6, you're collecting more of the frequency, but then it's just processing it into the already visible, what we know as visible light, like into the red spectrum or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Okay, so you wouldn't actually see another color or
No.
You wouldn't have the sensation of seeing another color, but you would be seeing
Technically,
in
yes, you
a
would.
wider range.
Oh, that would make stargazing, like imagine seeing the Milky Way that way, because most of the beautiful things that you can see in the universe are actually in the infrared or UV or gamma ray spectrum.
or X-rays, or just there's so much, like all of the colors really.
Yeah, exactly. So imagine being able to see a little more. I think that'd be neat. I don't know if you've ever been up to Utah or out in the West where the sky is like completely crystal clear and you go outside at night and you look up, it's almost scary. It's almost intimidating. how many
You
stars
fall
there are.
away from
Yeah.
the earth,
should go to
like
Utah.
your groundedness.
If we can get this solidified, if we can make this an actual thing and we can resolve all the risks and have this an actual thing, I would definitely go to Utah. That's Bryce Canyon. And do this again.
I think I checked like darkness maps for this, and near Marfa and Big Bend, I think, are also as dark as it gets.
Big Bend's, the only issue with Big Bend is there's nothing nearby. So it's a long trip and there's nothing else to do except for stargazing.
All right.
But it's worth doing. I mean, it's, like you said, that's where you can get the lowest light level.
But in Utah, there are things nearby and it's still amazing.
Oh yeah, it's Utah. I mean, if you gotta like being outdoor. Like Bryce Canyon is one of the most interesting and amazing places I've ever been in my life.
Okay.
And you just go outside the park and you can camp in your 10,000 feet up in the air. It's crystal clear.
That sounds cool.
It's a good opportunity.
Absolutely. Not a lot of places. Any place you can be up that high really is where you want to be. But Bryce Canyon is specific because you got St. George not too far away, and Zion. All those other parks are sort of nearby.
Moab.
Yep.
Zion.
Moab's on the other side.
Those are. I've never been there. I don't really know what's there, but those are places I know by name.
Yep. Moab's a pretty cool place. It's just really crowded, especially during that. I went there in the wintertime, like this time last year, and it was pretty.
What about like?
I don't know, man. It looks like a lot of people go there, though. Don't you want to be in isolation?
Yes. What do you mean, Bryce Canyon? You don't want to be in Bryce Canyon. You want to be near Bryce Canyon. The thing about Bryce Canyon is the quality of the air is really high. There's not a lot of precipitation, and it's a big giant plateau.
This guy has it all planned out.
Yeah. This is what I did all last year. Yeah. So I love Utah. So anyway, just throwing it out there as a future idea.
Yeah, man.
Always
Trip to Bryce
a
Canyon.
couple steps ahead. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Class trip.
Did you guys say you needed an EEG?
Do you have one?
I have a EEG adapter.
What kind?
I think it's the open source.
Yeah, we all have that.
Perfect.
Oh, you have that?
No. I mean, Gabriel had one. I have two that don't work, but I have all the parts for them.
Okay.
Do you have one that works?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Is it like the nicely?
Boxed one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's boxed.
Can you bring it by? Sometime?
Yeah. I have the electrodes for it.
I'll ask him how to modify it to work with the eye, because that brings us all the way from like 20% to 100% as far as the eye experiment goes.
We just need to put it together and work.
Cow.
Fantastic.
I'm gonna write an article about this.
Yeah, definitely.
You should.
I'm going to.
I think that's important.
I think in stages we should do a control test with the EERG to see how it works and see if we can get a consistent reading and make sure we know what we're doing. Then we should do this. We can get a hold of way more chlorine-6 than we need, right?
Yes.
Does it last?
Though, let's see.
Because I would love to do some stage testing.
It's fairly expensive. I think for $80 to $100 you get about 20 doses.
That's pretty expensive.
$8,200.
80
No,
to
80.
100.
8,000.
I mean,
Between
I would-
$80.
$80.
$80.
Oh.
80 done. Yeah, I would be willing to front like money for testing just because I think it's important to. And I want to make sure, because I want to make sure we go through with this. I think we're going to have a much better public reaction. I don't mean public as like nationwide. I just mean like local, like for the Biohack Austin group. I think we're going to have a much higher reaction if we can actually produce a formal, scientific, well thought out, well structured experimental.
I mean, if we did that
paper.
and the paintballing is so perfect.
And then we can show that like this isn't just a bunch of people who are just like, oh, we just want to break stuff and cause chaos. No, we actually know what we're doing. We want to have fun doing it. Like, so I think it would show that we're, you know what I mean? Show that we are serious about it. You know, so like, you know, we're cutting the edge, but we're doing it with, you know, a firm scientific thought, and we're going paintballing at night with glow in the dark paintball and night vision eye drops.
Yeah.
You know, I think that'd be pretty cool.
How many channels or how many electrodes does your EEG have?
I guess it's 2 channels, so 4 electrodes. Is that
Okay.
kind of the...
Is there a right leg driver with it? Like, is there a separate electrode that? Do you have 4, or is it 3, or is how many wires are coming out of it?
4.
4. Okay.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's. I'm not sure how many channels. It's been a while since.
What are the electrodes like? Are they?
They're these.
Do they have like pins coming out of them, or
No.
are they flat?
They're flat.
Are they silver?
I just have to bring it.
Okay. So
I'm sorry. I forget.
Getting a hold of silver, good pure silver.
Oh, I mean, I think silver or silver nitride is usually what they're made of.
Sure.
It's easy enough to come by, but actually the electrodes are somewhat expensive, just because they're silver.
Yeah.
Could use silver coins. Just go back to the libertarians.
Maybe you can use silver earrings.
Silver earrings.
But if they're sterling, you got to get the zinc and the zinc and the zinc, copper, and silver at 73.7% isn't it sterling?
I think so.
Little
Anyway.
specific.
Oh, well, let's see which is cheaper.
Yeah, true.
More economical.
Okay. Man, I kind of want to try this implant. This is the next generation of implants that he designed it.
So what's the whole?
Is there a
what's it
picture of
do?
it? The fibrin, whatever.
Let me find the picture.
This is a oh yeah, that's the chemical. That's the extracellular matrix that covers the implant to keep it compatible with your skin, allow it to heal. Is that right? He was saying I don't think you were here for that initial conversation.
Yeah.
The original problems he was having with his original implant were that it's not a great skin to implant.
Match.
Match is a good word.
Match.
So they have like at the edges of the implant, the skin either rejects or invites infection. But he says 100% of the time it's going to cause problems. So he's developed a new implant with a new type of extracellular matrix. Extracellular matrix is not the right word, but anyway, kind of the same thing. So the implant itself has a coating on it.
It ain't like in the dermal place. It's a subdermal implant,
You looked that up.
and along the sides of it, up to the skin, is a compound that encourages the skin to grow into the implant, so that you have a actual seal.
Is this like the NFC chips that people, that Zoltan got, and
but much bigger?
The NFC chips, they probably wouldn't need that, because the whole point of this is you can design something where that's
like a port that
you can design a port
Okay.
that you could
So it's actually sticking
you
out.
You can download and upload a flash to a flash memory card that might be connected to a vital signs thing, or a series of NFC chips, or be its own multi NFC chip or whatever.
Gotcha.
Or you could charge a battery that way, and
That'd be amazing.
It would be.
Then you can always talk on your cell phone.
Imagine going through an airport though.
Right.
You gotta figure that out. Wow.
Yeah, I'd like to write an article about that as well.
I will. I mean,
so it's called.
What's his site? Because his username is Chironex, but I can't remember the name of his lab right now. I'll just go through all of his posts until he links to it, I guess.
That's big too.
Sessions, probably exploration of coatings. So he also he's doing a lot of projects. That is, I've never seen it that big before.
Is that what it looks like?
Yeah, that's him.
No, I meant that one.
Which one?
Chironex.
This one?
Chironex.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
Is that Gabriel or?
So Gabriel is Glims.
Glims.
Yeah. They have matching.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wanna?
It's kind of like
Gollum.
cross with, yeah, I know. Yeah.
I can't see that on the stream, but just trust us, it's fun.
Okay, I'm not gonna think of it right now, but I can send it to you.
Yeah.
It's around. Chironex has a lab where they do stuff, and I think he's a graduate student right now, somewhere.
I'll make the note of it.
I'll have to look that up. Biohack.me.
Biohack.me, it's the forum. It's the forum to go to.
Right on.
Gabriel is the moderator on there.
See the second paragraph.
Which one?
Describes how it,
Lipoprotein.
yeah,
Oh, okay, look at that.
how it actually will hold on to.
So it is converted itself into fibrin. Oh, so it transforms as much as the skin does. That's pretty cool. So you're adding.
It formulates as though a blood clot.
Yeah. So how does it bind? So you'd have to have some sort of binding. So he's made okay, so the coating has to bind to the implant. The coating will be replaced by fibrin.
During blood, converted by thrombin.
Interesting. I'd like to see how he did that.
I just wonder how.
1872. How did they figure that out in 1872?
But fibrinogen is a chemical in your body, and fibrin is. Yeah, I don't know how they did that, but.
I mean, I guess they knew that enzymes converted things to other things, and that fibrinogen was, I don't know.
He hypothesized it.
Yeah.
So look at number 4. What is that?
It's in German.
Of course, it's German.
Yes.
Well,
Get access, only $40.
yeah, we'll try to get that one later. All right, so I'll be right back.
Okay. I want to read more about this.
You're taking a break.
I brought some flan and chocolate.
Flan?
I ate all the cookies on the way here. And I decided I also need like other things.
Just wondering how much of this crosses the brain barrier.
Which, the chemicals?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Or if it does.
It's pretty, you have to be pretty specific to get across the blood-brain barrier, but it'd be interesting to check. That's what I want to see. What other effects does the chlorine-6 have on other things in your body? And if there is a metabolic pathway, what is it? I'm sure it'd be similar to hemoglobin, but you don't metabolize hemoglobin, so.
Weren't we talking in one of our conversations, prior conversations, about how when you're experimenting on your body, the byproducts or the results of that always end up in your retina? Remember, they could read how much effect something was but through the retina. And I'm just wondering if you're actually applying in the retina, is there a reverse thing? I mean, that's why I'm wondering.
Yeah, it's actually new to me that things end up in your retina. That's.
Do you recall we were talking in one of our discussions about some sort of body hacking where the results of the chemicals applied or processed or whatever end up in your retina?
Yeah, that was the chlorine 6.
Oh, okay.
Like if you put it anywhere in your body, it just goes straight to your eyes.
Okay, so if you put it just in your eyes from the start.
I meant to get close, but not close.
I'm sorry. If you put it in your eyes at the start, where does that pathway, does it backfire?
So, yeah, I mean, the only places I read about where it bioaccumulates is in the eyes and in cancer cells. So,
if we can highlight where cancer cells are through some sort of fluke in this experiment.
I missed that, but.
how would we find it? Yeah, I mean.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
It would be amazing, but I don't know how we could do that.
Well, it would have to happen miraculously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the grinders, is that like the same movement as the biohacking? Or
So,
what's the difference?
Grinders are basically all under the biohacker umbrella, although some people just like to grind and they might not necessarily be hackers yet or might not know about it. Like
voguing?
Grinding refers to body modification and doing so in particularly new or experimental ways.
Okay.
Like grinding might have began with things like piercing and tattoos, but then as it keeps going, you've got the people that hang on with the skin under their backs. Any type of body modification that breaks the limitations or boundaries that people normally assume that their bodies have is grinding.
Mm-hmm.
And then grinding and biohacking goes together like, whatever and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Two sides of a double helix. But because biohackers are looking they come up with the methods of like grinding, I guess they're thinking about.
Right.
I think the big difference between those two right there is like the grinders that you're exploring where they're hanging from their muscles, they're into suffering and punishment.
Sometimes, yeah.
And I don't know that biohackers really have that mindful intention.
But not all grinders are into
Suffering and
pain.
punishment.
Yeah, some of them are into just like I would consider implants part.
Well,
of
I mean, the guys that hang from their backs,
Yes.
they would describe it as ecstasy.
That's implant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
because you get all that, because you don't get it's spread out across enough of your body that you don't get localized pain, but your body's still feeling it, and it says, oh man, we need to pump out some endorphins, and you feel all the endorphins without the pain, and it's a thrill. You're hanging from your skin on your, it's.
Are you speaking from experience?
No, I met some people.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew a girl who lived in Alaska who worked who worked in a piercing shop, and they actually ran. They called it something at a place called Chilcoot's Charlie. Well, they had like this really grungy, awful bar that used to be just really awful. But now it's just mostly awful.
The worse the bar is, the less it's biohacking.
Yeah,
but it still could be grinding.
Yep. So anyway, it was interesting because I first saw it and I was like, oh god, what is that? And then they were like, well, let me talk to you about it. And I was like, okay, all right. I see it more clearly now. It doesn't mean I want to do it. But
I understand that. Their cocktail VR was Bloody Mary.
Yep, exactly. Was that flan? You said you had flan?
It's in the black box.
Yeah, I gotta make a move, guys.
All right, Aaron, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
I have your
Head out as well.
I just changed my phone number, so I have a new
Nice
phone
chair.
number. I don't think you have it, but yeah.
I'll turn the broadcast off here.